Hello everybody, and just here and welcome back to Skeleton Knight in Another World. Gaikotsu Kishi-sama, something Odekakechuu, whatever, you know what show it is. Episode 5. The last episode ended perhaps a little bit uncharacteristically for this series on a little bit of a cliffhanger. Usually every single episode was fairly self-contained, but episodes 4 and 5 feel like a two-parter, essentially. In the previous episode, Ark and the elven girl, whose name I don't remember, and the elven dude, whose name I can't recall either, but I remember that his name is essentially a female name in Polish, a Polish female name. So yeah, that's all I remember about him, and he's a little bit standoffish when it comes to Ark, but of course not without reason. And they infiltrated the place where the slave traders had their headquarters and managed to free the slaves from there. And now they are on their way to the mansion of whatever lord, because there are like a couple more slaves kept there, so they want to rescue them as well. We also met the Kunoichi girl. I don't think she gave us her name, but yeah, the Kemonomimi ninja girl, who murdered every single person in that headquarters of the slave traders. So, yeah, that was interesting. She certainly does seem strong, and I can't shake off the feeling that she will sooner or later join our team. Now, she's not shown in the OP, but she's fairly prominent in the ED, and that's what I'm basing my predictions on. An interesting tidbit is that even the word ninja, the existence of ninjas, seems to be a secret in this world, right? She was very surprised that Ark even knew what a ninja is. And of course, she warmed up to him because he has Ponta. And Ponta will keep being that sort of a creature that makes everybody warm up themselves to Ark instantly. I can see that being a theme, a running theme. Is there anything else that was in the previous episode that bears mention? Mm, Not really. No, we are just on the way to some mansion to rescue more elves, and that's essentially it. And sorry if my voice sounds weird, but I had like sore throat a couple days ago, and I'm constantly a little bit sick, so it might be a little nasal, it might be a little, I don't know, softer or whatever. I can see I'm not peaking quite as much as I used to, so maybe a little quieter. Just crank up the sound in your video, I guess. So, subs, sound, and let's not prolong it any further. Let's not delay. Let's just start watching episode 5 of Skeleton Knight in Another World. Version by subs, please. In 3, 2, 1, go. Yep. Okay, a little bit of last time on Dragon Ball Z, I see. Berry tea with a slice of lemon. The OP continues being an absolute banger. And I need to get myself a pair of headphones that don't have this bit, just a flat one, so I can I can move the camera better. It sometimes is a pain trying to cut out my face um, for the thumbnails, right? Like, if I move like this and a little bit of the piece of headphones is cut off, what am I gonna do? I have to discard that frame. Although once I just drew on top with like clone tool and whatnot, and I made it work somehow. But yeah, I need a new headphones. I do have earphones. I might start using those. Although there's a bit of sound delay because they're wireless, and I'm not a fan of having sound delay. I'll be honest with you. Sure, I might not entirely understand what they're talking since it's Japanese, but sound effects and everything else, it matters. It matters for the overall experience. And here's the villain. Of course, he's a villain. And he really likes grapes. Someone told me I shouldn't be using the word grape without the first letter on YouTube because it penalizes channels, so I'm gonna try avoid that. Why did they let him run free? Why didn't Ark and the Elven girl just kill him right there and then? Aphrodisiac, I'm assuming? Probably aphrodisiac. He doesn't strike me as the kind of a guy who would use lube. Although, you don't put lube on the navel. That's a nice saying, actually. And she's CG. And she no longer is CG. And he just, yeah, should have just put them to sleep or just killed them instead of dropping a whole ass fucking bell. And she's CG again. Actually, I think I like it. I see what they're doing here. Ah, a man of culture, I see. Okay, just taking some quick notes. Well, one of them is. Literally dropping. Finish the job you started now, Ark and Ariane. You missed your opportunity to kill Udolan. Don't miss that opportunity now. Was she CG there as well? I'm not quite sure. Telvers Kabedon. Uh, I took a liking to you. Bam. More elves or treasure? They will, and you can do shit about it. Not if you're dead. True. Thus, the treaty is no more. Exactly. I'm with Ariane here. Just break their collars first, because if I recall correctly, the collars stop them from using magic. He's very much not. And now she has no problem just killing everybody. Danka, that was the name of the dude. Oh, golden ingots. And golden coin. A lot of gold. They can't do that if they don't have their money. Yeah, makes sense. The fact that you're loading your own pockets is just a side effect. I mean, Ark isn't incorrect here. It's that. Okay. Just gating out of there with all the loot. The two escaping. Oh, huh. She doesn't. And she's CG again. He's gonna lead a happy, uneventful life. That's not a bad idea, actually. Okay, we have a goal, potentially, if Ark agrees. And he will agree. Something tells me he will agree. I mean, with how many elves he helped rescue, and with Ponta, I don't think the elves will be particularly wary of him. Calling it now, there's gonna be some marriage plot. It's all bone. Hmm. Okay, is he actually gonna show her his face? Or is he gonna say that he's cursed to never be able to remove his armor? Okay, he's gonna be open about it. Looking like this, yep. Okay, so not an entire truth, but she knows all that matters. So it's merely an appearance. I will lend you my strength to help you lift the curse. And your secret will be safe. Okay. Certainly worth a shot. Shake on it. Okay, we finally have a couple of goals fully established. The goal of saving elves and the goal of breaking the curse. Oh, so the curse is actually real. Well, quote unquote real. Okay. It's essentially like flavor text that came to life. I like it. I like it. Nope. Okay, are the royals also scumbags? He is. Can already tell. What about the king, sect, and the princess, though? Okay. Okay, so those two are decent people, and the spiky dude is a scumbag. Gotcha. It's good when the characteristics are very, easily inferred and early shown. Yuriarna. Okay. Yep. She's smart, she's reasonable, she seems like a decent human being. Hmm. Economic warfare. Okay, what's the spiky boy gonna do? Do you know something? You sound like you know something, and you're not letting us know that. It's the elven lands. An anti magic barrier of some sort? Something like that? Or traps? Or not, just a regular like cliff. It's really an MMO, isn't it? We have fishing. Okay, that's not too far. That's like 3 days of travel. I guess they are traveling on foot, so that slows them down. I'd say maybe by carriage it would take like a day most. Belly rubs? Belly rubs? Belly rubs. I can't resist either when my cat is doing that. It's a primal human instinct to rub the belly. Okay, don't make it weird. Don't make it weird. Uh, uh. It's a nice little cop out from having to animate them. You just draw some chibi faces and animate those instead of having to animate the entire scene. It fits because it's like a very comedic moment, but it does feel like a cop out still. Yep. Oh, that would actually make sense if Spiky Boy was involved. And that's clearly preferable. I'm guessing Ark is gonna meet the princess sooner or later. Second princess. Okay, calling it now. Sister Seriana was attacked in the forest, and Ark and Ariane are gonna save her on their way. Or maybe not. Or maybe not. Maybe we're not going for that trope. And the end. I'm gonna have to check who made this ending song. Because it really reminds me of Arknight's music. I know that it's a huge generalization because there's a lot and a lot and a lot of people who made music for Arknights, but I'm really getting the vibe that this music, this melody, wouldn't be out of place as a theme song of like Contingency Contract. His very the animated CG Dos Soles trailer gives me very those vibes. Learning about the darkness of this world at the Elf Village. Okay. Riverside excursion, hanging with Ponta. And as we let's hang out with the full view. Let's go through this episode again, shall we? I'm not gonna try to be smart. Let's just go through this episode. Yeah, last time on Dragon Ball Z. OP. This dude really likes grapes. And yeah, now we know why the commotion, why the explosion. This bit. Arc, CG Arc, holding CG Ariane. And in the next scene over, Ariane is no longer CG, but Arc still is. Ariane is just superimposed on top of Arc. And that makes sense. That actually makes sense. Because notice how Ariane right now is completely on top of Arc. She's completely overlaid on top of him. In this scene, Arc is holding her, so there are parts of Arc on top of Ariana, whatever. One of the biggest issue of using CG in an anime is trying to connect it well with 2D. CG on CG looks good. 2D on 2D looks good. 2D on CG and CG on 2D very often doesn't. Because there is a difference in style ever so slightly. There is a difference in frame rate, in the way the characters move, in colors, in shadows, and whatnot. And you also have to very carefully keyframe everything so that when a CG object touches a 2D object, it actually looks like they're touching, right? It's much easier to do to show a CG object touching a CG object. Like, in this case, Ark holding Ariane. It's very easy to have a 2D object touching a 2D object. Those soldiers holding their spears. Very easy to do. What's not easy to do, and what often looks very wrong, is when a 2D object and a 3D object are touching. Right? A CG monster hitting a 2D character, or a 2D hero slashing a CG monster with a 2D sword. That very rarely looks good. Now, in this scene, we don't see Ark touching Ariana. Right now, Ariana is completely superimposed on top of Ark. So she can be 2D and Ark can be CG because they aren't touching. Here, it looks better when they are both CG. Here, it doesn't make a difference. I like it. I like it. Very often, anime that uses a combination of 2D and CG tries their damnedest to make them work together, and it never works. It really never works. I think the only example of like CG and 2D interacting and working semi well together, I think it was like Arifureta and Hajime's weapons. That looked somewhat decent. And even that mostly in the second season. The CG in the first season wasn't good in like any kind, any category. In season 2, at least the weapons did actually work with Hajime. And I say that they work because I didn't notice them not working. I still remember season 1 of Arifureta and the CG monster attacking the 2D people and interacting with 2D environment, and it was horrible. Everything was floaty, nothing was impactful, like completely different layers because they are completely separate layers. And I don't have those memories about Hajime's weapons in season 2 in particular. So that's why I'm assuming weapons in season 2 worked actually well. Ark didn't want to kill them. Ariana didn't want to kill them. This is a great bit, genuinely. And genuinely no wonder they fell for it. Seeing how not a single bit of flesh is visible through Ark's armor, he might as well just be a background armor, honestly. If he stands completely still, who's to say? And I think at moments, at times, Ark is actually 2D. Yeah, I think, especially in this particular scene, Ark is drawn, Ark is 2D. Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely, because I can see some imperfections. And those imperfections tell me that Ark right here is 2D. Let me show you real quick what I mean. Is it this one? No. It's this one. There we go. This bit right here. Right? You see that? This bit. This line kind of oversteps into this kind of goes there. And there are more places like this, not in this particular frame, but there are some more imperfections like that, on Ark's sword, most notably. But I don't want to spend more time on that. Something like that isn't done in CG. In CG, the line work is perfect. There's no like overflow, there's no overdraw. Okay, let's skip through this real quick. Mm. I still have no clue why they let Udolan go. They murdered every single other uh, slave trader, but they just let Udolan go with some minor injuries. I don't know. This anime, if there's one thing that I'm not sure if I'm a fan of, is its approach to like killing people and to death overall. Because there are moments where Ariana just does a fire attack and burns some enemies to a crisp. Right? There are moments where there's blood flowing and limbs are being chopped off. And it seems like this anime has no problem showing that, has no problem showing some visceral fights and injuries and whatnot, and people actually genuinely dying instead of the trope where, sometimes in anime there's a sword fight and they're fighting with super sharp, extra sharp swords, but there isn't even a trickle of blood anywhere. You know what I'm talking about. And it seems like this anime isn't afraid of actually showing that blood, of showing limbs being cut off and people being burnt to ash. But then you have something like this, where Utolan turns out to just be comically injured. Right? All that's missing is like a bump on his head with a couple of band-aids in a cross plastered on top of it. You have this scene where Ariana doesn't kill this dude either. Then you have other people attacking those soldiers, right? And Ariana does her fire attack, but it seems like it's just nothing more than a wind attack because it just throws them around. Last time when she attacked with fire, the people were burnt to a crisp. Now they aren't. Now we're kind of stepping into the kind of anime that doesn't show injury, that doesn't show death, that just a cut with a sword doesn't leave a mark. A flame burst attack doesn't leave a mark. And those soldiers will probably be just knocked unconscious and not actually dead. That's one thing I'm not a huge fan of, because uh, I appreciate it in an anime, in any sort of anime, when it knows what it is and it follows its principles. If an anime sees itself and establishes itself as an anime that we see right here, where not even a fiery tornado gives people any sort of injuries, sure, absolutely, you can do that. It wouldn't be the first anime that did it, but stay consistent with that. Because if you start your anime with showing grievous injury and people fucking dying and whatnot, and then you go into like cartoon superhero fight, I'm gonna be disappointed. And I am. I am disappointed. Why the disclaimer at the beginning of the episode? Right? That disclaimer leads you to believe that it's gonna be like Goblin Slayer. It's gonna be like Overlord. But it's not. It's not. It's like Slime Isekai. It's like X Isekai that you see every single season, at least 15 of. That disclaimer gives me hope that it's gonna be something more mature. And the first episodes also gave me the impression that that's what it's gonna be. When someone gets slashed at with a sword, they're gonna have a wound. But now it's not. And I don't know if it's, I don't know, budget issues. Is it a conscious choice? I mean, it can be a budget issue. If it was a budget issue, this scene wouldn't be animated. It would be a still with some effects. But there's actually like heat distortion, and her hair are moving, and everything is moving, and there's an effect in the background. And you can see the floor and the wall shining through the flames. This is not a low effort, low budget scene. The CG of the quality they're using here, that's not cheap either. So why are they staying away from showing injury the way they shown it in the first episodes? I don't know. I don't know. Is the disclaimer at the beginning just because of Booba? I have no clue. I really like Ark's reasoning here. It's not that I'm trying to fill up my own coffers. No, no, no. I just want to take money away from the evildoers. If they don't have the money, they won't be able to rebuild, right? I'm working with my head, right? I'm thinking. You didn't have come up with that. I did. The fact that I'm gonna get all this gold, oh, that's really just a side effect. Don't mention it, please. I like it. I really, really, really do like it. Because it's an excuse, yes, but an excuse that makes sense. An excuse that genuinely does make sense. And apparently there is the Kunoichi girl who's doing explosions. She doesn't strike me as the kind, though. She's a ninja. She should be stealthy, not blowing up walls, right? So maybe it's not her. Maybe it's someone else entirely. Hard to say. I've fulfilled my contract. I really thought that he's gonna either split that money equally between him and Ariane, or he's gonna refuse pay, but I'm not gonna hold it against him that he's taking it all and getting the pay as well. I mean, that's what they agreed to, right? That he gets X amount of money for this mission, and he kept his end of the bargain, and Ariana is keeping hers. And we're going to the Elven lands. Hell yeah. I'll introduce you to one of the elders, the person I trust the most. And I noted down marriage plot. It's very often a thing you see in situations like that. And I wonder if my prediction is going to be correct. Now, it's nothing specific. It could be that the elder is gonna try to push Ariana for a marriage with Ark. It could be that the best way to have the elders like Ark and decide to take him in and help him is marriage with Ariane or something like that. I noted it down just in case something like that is gonna happen because I have a feeling it might. I can never remove my armor. I honestly thought that he's gonna tell her that his curse is that he cannot remove his armor, but I'm glad that he revealed his face. It's gonna make things easier, both for their cohabitation and them traveling together, right? It would be fairly awkward if they were traveling together, but Ark would always go somewhere in a secluded place to eat alone, right? It would make things very awkward and very hard for them, and it would make Ariana even more suspicious of him. And it makes things easier, like on the viewer, story wise, because they don't have the creators of the show don't have to seek any justification for why Ark would be showing his face, why he would be going somewhere to eat in a secluded spot or anything like that, because it is known. And we as viewers can see Ark more often, can see him emoting. That's another very important thing. Ark's skull is very expressive. It blushes, it shifts, it stretches, completely like if it wasn't a skull. But I mean, you've seen what Ark's skull does, and that lets the viewer experience it more often. Ark isn't just completely and always and at all times wearing his helmet, and that's good. That's a good change. Uh, I woke up with nothing but my altered appearance. I imagine it must be some kind of a curse. Um, I at first I thought that he's just thinking of it on the spot, but that would still make a good explanation and believable, essentially making him a knight with amnesia who just woke up with the appearance of a skeleton. Was it some evil wizard that made him this way? Was it some sort of a curse from a treasure that he found? Was it this? Was it that? Right? So many possibilities. But it is also based in reality because he did wake up in this world, in these lands, with nothing but his altered appearance. That's true. But then this bit comes that he woke up in another world looking like my video game character. He mentioned that it's a part of his like backstory in game, where he essentially wrote it down in his bio as a piece of flavor text, and it turns out it's true. He probably was playing like an undead skeleton, but his explanation for it in his bio was that he's under the effect of a curse. So who knows? Perhaps he actually is under the effect of a curse. So what he told Ariane is even closer to truth. It's not the entire truth, but it's enough. And it's enough for her to understand, and she understands it. If you were to add this fairly insignificant detail comparatively of him being isekai'd here, she wouldn't understand it. She would doubt him. But the explanation of I'm under the effect of a curse, I have no memories before coming here, I just woke up and looking like this, it's true, and she understands. That's great. I like it. And you can live among the elves. Your secret will be safe. And we can try to help you lift that curse. That's an interesting plot point. Can this curse even be lifted? Right? Even if his flavor text did come true, and it is an actual curse, it's not a curse of this world. So can it be lifted? That's another interesting thought. Ariane, not Ariana, Ariane, like the blonde pony. Ariane. Sorry. Warrior from Maple in the Great Canada? The Great Canada Forest. I guess she's Canadian, eh? I guess she's Canadian. And he's Ark. Just Ark. Yeah, here he mentions that it's a curse that he made up as part of his character's background. The path set out for me is clear. I'm glad. Took us 5 episodes, but we have a curse set. I wonder how much they're gonna be able to do in the remaining, what is it, like 7 episodes? 7 episodes is like not. It's not much, but it's not like few. It's quite some time, and they will be able to handle a lot. I shouldn't be really wondering about those things so early on in the series. That's something to worry about when we're on episode 9 and nothing is known, nothing is set in stone. That's when we should worry about. Episode 5 is perfectly fine. Olaf, capital of the Roden Kingdom. King Carlon Delfrid Roden Olaf. We don't know who's responsible. First Prince Sect Rondal Carlon Roden Saktiai. Holy shit, what are those names? Roden, okay. Carlon Roden. Dakares CCA Carlon Roden Veteran. I guess Carlon Roden. Those names don't make much sense. I thought that they're taking like a child in a noble family takes their father's name as part of their own. So Carlon Roden. Okay, I guess Carlon Roden. But why is Delfrid in the middle? I'm not sure. How about the princess now? First prince. Okay, show me the princess. Show me her name. Juliana Merol Melissa Roden Olaf. So she's taken the Roden Olaf. The sons took Carlon Roden. The daughter took Roden Olaf. Maybe there's some rhyme and reason to it. I'm not sure. There are rumors that the elves are responsible, and of course, angry spiky boy is somehow involved in that, in the slave trade of elves, and of course he doesn't want his buddies to be outed, because if his buddies are outed, chances are he's gonna be outed as well. And of course, he's the second prince, so there's some resentment for the first prince. I should be the one on the throne. I'm a much better ruler than you. Our father knows nothing, yada yada yada. The usual. Capturing elves and selling them to the Eastern Empire. Given the previous rumor, it makes sense, but it's still just rumors. Yeah, do you have some proof? Do not condemn the Marquis without sufficient cause. I'm assuming the Kunoichi girl has the documents and has the proof. Ark probably also has the proof, because they did find those documents. So it will be interesting seeing Princess Yuriana, or whatever her name is, meet up with Ark. And I'm assuming Ark will eventually end up having to escort Yuriana somewhere. Whenever there's a princess that appears, you can be damn fucking sure she's joining the party, at least temporarily. That's a rule of Isekai. It could raise tensions. Yeah, if the elves were to seek retribution by holding their arrangements with Limbold, would be held responsible by the other countries, and the other countries would withhold exports to your country, and everybody is interconnected. You get a sense of globalism here. You get your first taste of globalism. You can't allow yourself to be sanctioned, and you can't sanction because they're gonna sanction you back, and they can do without your sanctions, but you can't do without their retaliation sanctions, and fucking geopolitics. Head to Limbo and make arrangements so that we may speak with the elves. Water, hungry, Ponta. Can't resist. Can't resist the Ponta. Cannot resist the Ponta. She's going a little bit overboard, not gonna lie. But. And yeah, this bit. It really does feel like a cop out, not having to animate that bit. But also, it's just a comedic moment, and for comedic effects, I can get behind it. I genuinely can. Princess is a maid who's very assertive, and she knows her stuff. Yeah, the throne will eventually be yours or Prince Sect's. Made me really wonder about this maid. There has to be something more to her. I'm gonna note it down. Something more to maid Terna. I don't know what. She might be a spy. She might be like third princess in disguise. She might be a royal consort. She might be a head of the Queen's spec ops or something. I have absolutely no clue, but there is something more to her. That much I can tell you. We must move and arrange for a meeting with the elves. And the princess's sister, the second princess, was married into the Limbult family. Serjarna. Interesting. I can tell for sure that Ark is gonna meet the princess. That's like not even up for discussion. One thing that I find interesting and not entirely clear. Ark doesn't have any luggage. Where is he keeping the gold? Right? Where is he keeping his entire, things, all of his things? His sword is on his back, sure, but where is his shield, for example? Where's the gold? I'm assuming he also has some like food on hand, maybe tools, maybe something like that. He wasn't shown to have like a storage magic that he can pull things out of the void. He doesn't have any luggage. Did he just put that all that gold in a bank somewhere? Did he bury it? I have no clue. And yeah, we arrived at the land of the elves. Contingency contract music. Learning about the darkness of this world at the elf village. See, the darkness. I'm not entirely sold on the darkness. I was sold on the darkness of this world by the beginning, at the beginning of this series, when we were actually shown the darkness of this world. Right? Injury, blood, grape attempts, and whatnot. In this episode, it was very cartoonish. So right now, I expect the darkness of this world be the kind of darkness you see in most isekai anime that is only told and not really shown. I hope not. But that's what I'm expecting. I guess you can just blow the fish out of the water with magic. Riverside excursion hanging with Ponta. And I mentioned that I wanted to see real quick who made the ending. Skeleton Knight in another world. Show it to me. My animalist should be enough. If not, there's also Annulist. Come on. There we go. And window capture. Or not, I guess. OBS really doesn't like changing window capture, so I'm just gonna do that. And read it on my own. Characters and staff. Main. Supporting. Okay, stuff. Theme song performance. Dialogue plus. EBA music. There's nothing about the ending. Unless theme song performance counts as the ending. Let's see what AniList tells us. Stuff. Art director, art design, CG director, EBA music. Dialogue plus theme song. Okay, Dialogue plus is the theme song performance for the ED. Dialogue plus also made some OPs and EDs for anime I never heard of. Okay, sure. And EBA is the music producer. Okay, also theme song arrangement for ED1 in Yojo Senki and some other shit I don't know. And yeah, Per Fredrik Asli, or however you pronounce the A with a circle on top. Theme song performance. Okay. I know all I needed to know. Well, kinda sorta. I don't know what else is there to say besides just a good episode, a nice end to this mini arc. I'm not sure how much of a fan I am of the mixed messaging I'm getting about how dark exactly and how brutal exactly is this world and this series. Because sometimes they have absolutely no qualms about cutting people in half and showing the cross section, and sometimes they just beat people up comically and knock them unconscious, and that's that. I know there's that weird aversion to vengeance and killing and whatnot in anime. It was shown in like Shield Hero season 1, for example. But the first episodes really made me think it's not this kind of anime. That sure, it's gonna have its comedic moments, but when it gets serious, it gets serious. It gets blood and gore and guts serious. But alas, it doesn't seem to be the case. I wonder if it might be a fairly new change. Perhaps some uproar after people saw episodes 1 and 2 and 3 and whatever, the episodes that were fairly egregious, and they wrote letters to the studio to tone it down or something. Wouldn't surprise me. There's plenty of prudes in the world. Or is it just to save budget? Or is it just to save budget for some significant moments? And there will be a moment in this series where all of the money they saved not showing blood and gore here will be put into showing blood and gore in that moment. I wonder. I wonder. You can't exactly talk about the world being dark without showing this world being dark. Sure, there's elf slavery, but let's be honest here. Uh, an isekai series without elf slavery is not an isekai series. It's like one of the staples. And yeah, I know I'm probably like playing it down way too much, but it's been played down by all the series that show it in a very kind of whatever way. So I was expecting for a bit of a darker take on it, bit of a more mature take on it. But alas, all we had is the fat dudes smearing some gunk on their navels, and that's the haha dark, but also kind of hot booba, right? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Their depictions of the maturity of this series and their attempts to justify the rating, the disclaimer at the beginning. I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing that. First few episodes, yeah. This episode, I really am not seeing that. I hope they're gonna do better. I hope it's gonna change, but I don't know. Still, even with that, even with me not entirely liking that, even with me having just slight qualms about like the CG quality and the shortcuts they took with animating just the faces in speech bubbles. Even with all that, I still very much do enjoy this series. The storytelling, the characters in particular. I really like it. Everybody is smart. Everybody is competent to some degree. Nobody is a purely comic relief. Nobody is just the stupid one, right? Everybody has their own smarts. Everybody is powerful. Everybody is strong. Everybody is smart. I like it. A breath of fresh air, really. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all I had to say. Next episode, we're going to the elf village, and I wonder what's gonna happen. Probably some elves not quite being willing to accept Ark, especially if he takes off his helmet. Perhaps some marriage shenanigans, as I noted it down. But in the end, Ark will be accepted by the elves, and he's gonna keep helping them rescue other elves. Perhaps he's gonna even help the princess, or the princess gonna help them put an end to slave trade in the kingdom. That'd be nice. That'd be nice, like overarching bit of a story, not just the overarching bit with Ark seeking a cure to his curse, but also the overarching story of trying to fix the kingdom. That would be very much appreciated. But that's it from me. Now it's time for some input from you down in the comments. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you thought of this episode, of my reaction, of my theories. Just keep things spoiler free, please. And I really need to blow my nose. I don't know if you can hear it or not. And if there is something that was there in the light novel or in the manga but was completely skipped or glossed over in the anime, do tell me about it. I would be curious if it's genuinely something that enhances my understanding of this episode. Feel free to tell me about it. If it's a spoiler, don't. If you have even a slightest inkling of a doubt that it might be a spoiler, don't. There's my Discord server right here that has a Skeleton Knight channel, and you can go there, you can use spoiler tags and talk spoilers with fellow people who are familiar with spoilers or don't mind the spoilers. And if you don't use the spoilers, I'm just gonna be able to read it plain and clear, and I'm gonna be able to have some discussion with you. Like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it, but tell me why so I can improve. Subscribe to the channel to be notified of future videos, not only Skeleton Knight, but also Spy X Family, Shield Hero Season 2, Virgin Road, Revue Starlight, and Symphogear G. And I don't think I missed anything. I think that's all. And what else? Share this video with other people if you want to support the channel, because the more you spread the word about my channel's existence, the more YouTube itself spreads the word, and the more viewers I get, and the happier I am, because this is my goal as a content creator, to have my content seen by as many people as possible. And if you want to support me monetarily for a change, you can join my Patreon, link in the description, the name right here. And for just $1, you get placed in the credits, and you get a role on my server, and you get to see some sneak peeks and stuff like that on the Patreon-only channel on that server. And for $10, you get early access to non-seasonal shows, which this time around is Symphogear G and Revue Starlight. And with that, that's gonna be it. And I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Do all the good stuff, and cheers. And here are the credits. As I mentioned, you don't need $10, any amount will do to put you here.